All right, so we have this beautiful FDF Angle kit. The only problem is it's for an 08 to 14 WRX, and I have the Legacy. So we're gonna try to see if it's gonna fit today. I do have a buddy of mine that put GRB control arms on a Legacy. The front geometry is pretty much the same, so I'm pretty confident that it's going to fit. My steering rack is also a GRB STI quick rack. So I think we'll be okay. It's cool that this is for a WRX, because if it was for example, an STI, a GRB, the hubs would be wider and it definitely wouldn't fit my suspension, at least. Because it's for an 08 to 14 WRX, that also means that the hub pattern is for a 5x100 setup, which works out for me also. And it's crazy adjustable. You have the control arm setups, you can do caster, you can do camber. I mean, everything is fully adjustable with it. And they also have these adapters where it goes from the aftermarket tie rod end to the OEM pitch. It's just, everything comes with it. So it should be okay. We're gonna try to get a little bit more angle out of the car, just have a little bit more fun, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, they were cool enough to allow us to try it out. We'll get hit with like a 10% restocking fee if it doesn't work out, but it's pretty expensive. I think it was like $1,600 for the full kit. So I mean, $160 to try it out. But again, I think it's gonna work. We'll see. I'll take you along the ride to try it out. But yeah, it's a beautiful kit, very well put together. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to try to put this in. All right, so first things first, take off the wheel. After you take off the wheel, we're going to basically take off the hub first. So there's two 19s. You're gonna have the tie rod end, the ball joint. You're gonna take the big nut out. Brakes are gonna come off. Yeah, just taking the whole hub off, and then we're gonna remove the control arm. After we remove the control arm and the hub, we're gonna take the FDF kit and install it to the suspension. Let it kind of dangle there, and then we're going to install the control arm. Made them up together, and call it a day. And as you can see, we already have this piece cut off. So what we'll do is just take off the hub real quick. By using the right tool. That is the hub. So we didn't have to actually take off the 32 mil piece right there, because we've actually already cut off the drive shaft and made it really short. Hopefully it's short enough for the FDF kit. Now, control arm. We'll take the control arm off. The control arm will have an end link. The front one is a 17 and the rears are all 19s on these ones right here. I do have a Cusco brace that might have to be removed. If it does, no big deal. Let's see if I need the Allen key. Nice! Okay, so for I have a Cusco brace. It just connects the control arm to the subframe. It just kind of stiffened things up. As I was removing just the bottom 19s, there are two 19s in the back and then a bigger 19 nut on the front. And when I saw the nut, I said, wait a second. On the FDF kit, it's a bolt. So I figured if it's a bolt, then that stud that's inside there will most likely have to be removed. Hopefully that's not the difference between the 08 to 14 setup. Could be. There ain't no way that that's going to be permanently in there. The main thing is it going to be the same thread as this setup here? So we got it in the Legacy bolt. Is it's like a 15 mil right here, and you got to take this one out. The Impreza one is different, so you could probably just buy an OEM Impreza one. This one here, the pitch was this is too small. I went to the store and I just picked up another one. It's like a 100 millimeter M14, but with a 1.5 pitch. So that'll do the trick. I probably will buy an OEM bolt just to try to fit in there. Just to, I don't know. I wanted it to be a little bit longer than that, but it is in there really well. All right, so I have this side done. Look at that poke. So it sticks out a lot on a Legacy. This is a 8.5J with a 235. The CRSs or CR1s, if you're in the States, the tires are pretty aggressive. So it's basically size-wise like a 245, but without getting into detail, just take my word for it. I've stacked them up on other tires. 245 size tire, basically, right, with an 8.5J plus 45 offset, and it still sticks out pretty aggressively. When I turn all the way left or right now, I'm not really hitting anything except for the sway bar, which is not connected. So just a quick rundown on the ins and outs of what I had to do, basically. Good things and bad things with the kit. Some things, in my opinion, their fault. Some things, not their fault. Let's start with the things that are not their fault. For example, so this is their piece, right? When I was about to do this part, I was like, I will not be able to return this thing if I go on from this point. So I basically committed after this right here to make sure that I can get it to work, and I kind of checked everything else. So I actually had to, this is the adapter kit that goes from their outer tie rod end to the OEM outer tie rod end. And when I installed everything and I was like, wow, yeah, it looks pretty good, it was sticking out like crazy. It was toe out like ridiculousness. So the only way that I could get that to go back to more of like a zero toe was I had to cut these portions off, right? And the reason why that I don't think that's their fault is, one, because this wasn't meant for a Legacy, and two, I actually think the main reason why it didn't fit with even the OEM setup is because I'm doing a GRB STI quick rack in a Legacy with an 08 to 14 steering rack. Like, it's not going to be perfect, right? So this piece, if I had the OEM steering rack for a Legacy, might have actually worked. But if you get this kit for a Legacy, or you end up coming to a problem with too much toe out, this is a pretty easy fix to do. So that's that. Another thing that wasn't their fault really is, so my setup has the Brembo brakes on it. Theirs was on a 0814 WRX, which was just like the normal calipers. I realized that when I put my wheel back on, it wasn't turning at all. Like, it was completely locked up somehow. And as I looked into it more, the bolts, the two 19 millimeter bolts that hold in the caliper were too long. This bolt, the OEM bolt, hits the actual bottom of the rotor. Because their material is, you know, the whole kit is lighter than the OEM hub. But if you look here, this and this, their material is thinner than the OEM material. So that means that the actual bolts are going to stick out more. And they stuck out so far that they were actually hitting the rotor, and I couldn't turn it. Instead of wasting more time and going to find bolts, I eventually will. I actually just cut them off and made them nice, and it works fine. I just cut them a little bit shorter, about 3 millimeters shorter. The actual caliper location was central with the actual rotor, so that was good. It was just a bolt. So if you have Brembo bolts, you have to get a shorter bolt. And then the next one kind of goes in between. It's, you know, I'm not trying to like, you know, throw them under the bus or anything like that, just constructive criticism. The next one falls into their fault and not their fault. The sway bar hitting, I realized as I was looking back up, like I went home last night and I was looking at their videos and just kind of looking at their setup and comparing it. And they didn't realize it, maybe they did, I don't know. The Subaru that they were working on, the tie rod end is facing down. On a Subaru, they're facing up. So your tie rod, right, or not your tie rod, I'm sorry, your sway bar. So your sway bar was facing down versus up. So the sway bar goes up and around, the tie rod is over here, and then it kind of connects to the control arm. And so their whole design that they had on there, and he says it in the video, like they'd rather have OEM stuff, right, instead of aftermarket stuff, you know, caster issues and whatnot. So this design, it goes in usually with the OEM one. They went out so they can get more angle for the actual tire, so more clearance for the tire. But yeah, the sway bar straight up hits, and there's not really much you can do though on that, because even the guys who are custom fabbing the OEM knuckles to having a different angle for the tie rod to get more angle. So if you bring it down, it's pushing more versus pushing just a little bit. When they adjust this portion, that already gives you almost no clearance for the tie rod or for the sway bar. Does that make sense? So if you have your car like this and you bring this tie rod end back, it gives you more angle but no room for your sway bar. That's why when the car came into FDF, the way that it was angled, they had to pretty much install it wrong for them to keep the sway bar set up. And then the problem with that is when you start to get into more angle, you hit that sway bar that's installed incorrectly. So finding a sway bar solution for this setup is going to be really interesting, because I definitely want to keep a sway bar.
And this here is the sway bar all fabbed up. I had to cut. That piece right there is actually from an OEM sway bar that I cut and slid on the inside. Got the right angle, and then I welded it. I ran a few passes, just kept running it again and filled it up. After I got to this point, I felt that it was strong. I hit it with the angle grinder, make it look like it never happened. And then I took some thick steel plates, tacked them together, welded that up real nice. After that, I drilled some holes. After that was done, I primered it up. I did paint it black. The only thing is I did have to angle it downwards. It is not like the OEM setup.
Two more things. One, if you look right here, you can see, I think it's like the water jet cut, right? So it's just not going to be a perfect straight setup. It is what it is, right? Three things, I'm sorry. These three things are kind of my, I was like grunting and FDF. This is the stuff that I was like kind of a little bit upset about. So one, it's flared out that way, right? That's not what that's no big deal. Who cares about that, right? It's the actual, this portion, I'm pretty sure, if I really wanted to get crazy, I can actually do a bore gauge on the top and the bottom and figure it out, you know, if it's actually different length. But this bottom portion, there's a lip on that end right there, right? Versus the rest of it does not have a lip. It's practically perfect. But anyways, you try to put the OEM hub in there and it will not fit in there. It's not a difference between 0814 WRX versus Legacy. That's not the issue here. There's something going on with this bore. So I had to bore it out a little bit, which takes time. And that crazy little just cutting that thing out the whole time is just annoying. So you have to adjust that possibly, right? Even if you get this for an 08 to 14, there's a good chance that you're gonna have to actually bore that out a little bit so that you can actually get the piece in. That kind of sucked. The other thing is these washers right here, the way that they did these washers, like this diameter is not the diameter that you need for a WRX. This is thinner, and they are putting these washers in there to make up for that gap, which is okay, but there's still, even with these spacers, a small bit of play. With the OEM suspension or kind of like the average coilovers, you probably wouldn't have any issues. You can just tighten them down and get it to squeeze on there. The setup I have on here are Ohlins, right? Which the bottom mounting bracket is like a pretty heavy duty aluminum billet like setup. It's not made to bend at all, right? So getting that tight on there without having some play up there has been pretty difficult. And then the washer that they use, they've made this hole perfect for if you wanted to implement the OEM camber bolts. So you can actually use the camber bolt to adjust it with the actual setup. It's like perfect for the size, which is great. But then they give you washers that won't fit the big side of the camber bolt. So I had to also bore one of those out, because with this sticking out, these control arms are probably a good 25-30 millimeters wider than the OEM Legacy stuff. And it's going to be wider than probably even an 0814. That's just the way that they designed it. So I just need to be able to, from the top hat and this being all the way positive camber, I'm still at -6 degrees about right now, which is okay. But that was, so it would be nice if they just made this wide to the actual proper size that fits a 5x100 knuckle, you know, like setup. And then the last one, which is kind of like, I don't know if it's going to bother me or if it's not going to bother me, because I honestly don't know what the Ackerman is set to with this setup. The Ackerman is definitely, you know, they even advertise full adjustable, right? Negative, positive, this, that, and whatever. And you definitely can. I'm not saying that you can't, because you can see the gap, right? So the closer you bring the tie rod into the inner side of the car, the more zero you'll get if you're in a positive, right? So the less you'll get. If you bring it farther away, you'll get more positive. And you can see the adjustments are possible there, but these plates are the same. You can't flip them up, adjust them, change them, whatever. So you can't really change the Ackerman or adjust the Ackerman unless you either make a plate or maybe purchase plates from them. I'm not sure what's up with that, but I mean, if it's a fully adjustable kit, you would think out of the box when you're purchasing it, you should be able to adjust it. I've seen other Angle kits where you can, add different plates to them and adjust them. For whatever reason, there was not any in here. So that's kind of like a rundown of the whole setup. We'll start filming again on that side when I start to put it together. Another cool thing though is the ABS. They advertise on their website that you can't use ABS. Like if I were to cut this down in there a little bit and tap that for a 10 millimeter bolt, I'm pretty sure I can get the ABS to work. We'll see how that goes. But no big deal if I can't, because they already said that you can't use ABS on the kit. So if I can get it to work, great. If it doesn't, they'll be like, I told you so. But yeah, so far so good. I mean, in all, the adjustment on this kit is amazing. You can go wider with the control arm with these back. You have caster front and back. It's a really nice kit still. Like even with those issues and whatnot, they're not like end of the world type things. They're all fixable and adjustable and things like that. Even if you're installing it on a Legacy. But yeah, on that side, we'll record the bolt, so you'll see the video of me removing that. A little bit of a crazy angle, but hopefully you can see it. All right, now that I got most everything all prepped up, let's see how smooth this goes the second time around. Another thing that I highly dislike about the washer idea, right, is when you go put this on, you have to try to figure out like getting this angle in here can be quite annoying. That's like pressed up against the actual hub, but you can see. past that. I mean, of course it'll go smaller once you've pressed it down, but I mean, you know, with the OEM stuff, it's flush, but it is what it is. All set up. Get out.